tax holidays, or maybe even government grants that helps, or advisors campaigns that brings on these companies and advise them on how they can tap the market. So tourism, that's on the issuer side. Also, they can actually participate in the investor side as well. Manik.
Yeah, just a thought on that process. I think as far as the market goes, we haven't had, like you said, tourism represented. But one thing the advisors and the intermediaries can play is that, obviously regulators also need to play that role. There are ways to issue products in the market, dollar denominated, rupiah denominated, and pay it out in dollars. Now, this might be an interesting concept. I think we have been talking about it, but somehow it hasn't come into the market. Now, the pension office it's presumably too early to say, but may be interested. Some others may be interested. But to get the tourism to participate in the capital market is something that is doable. So I just thought that this might be one way of getting the tourism in. Now, in terms of the other, let's leave it that. Thank you.
On tourism again, yeah. So we don't necessarily need to fully develop a resort when it comes to tapping the market. We're not talking about a $50 million issuance here. So all of these resorts are, if you consider it in a different angle, it's prime real estate. They need renovation every now and then. So these working capital finances can also be linked to the market. And also we had, during the lunch, our chairman was suggesting, just to touch up about the little USD crisis we have in the country, so, something that we all need to take a note on. All of our rupiah might actually have a risk of devaluation, and we should really think about how we can improve on bringing these dollar-listed securities to the market. So dollar-listed securities means repatriation issues won't be there. Foreign investors can be easily, investing in the market. So a listing of the tourism sector is quite important. I'll stress on it so that we all work together on it. And I think that's the next phase for the market.
Like you have mentioned, tourism from portfolio, right? We have a rather interesting question to Mr. Henry Cruz. How appropriate is the use of external fund managers for managing pension fund investments?
The use of external managers is different justifications or different value added. The first and more easy to mention is access to new markets. So if you want to go to a new market, a new asset class, and you are not aware of how it works, hiring an external manager is a quick way to access a new market. The second reason to use external asset managers is the so-called manager risk, saying that if I'm managing myself everything, maybe missing some opportunities, or I may be taking the wrong decisions. So if I hire an external manager, I am diversifying the decision risk, the manager's risk, because someone else will do it differently from me. So I'm diversifying the manager risk. Third reason is value added. So I can hire external managers that are pretty competent in that particular asset class, and they are adding value because they know better how to extract value from that asset class. And finally, the fourth reason is passive investment. For example, you can say, I want to have a low-cost investment strategy, and I need to invest in one particular asset class passively, replicating the market index. So I can hire someone that has a huge amount of money under management, bigger than mine, because I will benefit from economies of scale of delegating that management to that big player. Having said this, usually it all comes to costs, because hiring external managers ends always up on discussing the fees. So the first question we need to put is it cost effective to hire an external manager? Will the value added compensate for these additional costs? That is the starting question for us to make. So I would say these are the reasons for contemplating external asset managers.
I think since time doesn't permit, we could take one question to all participants. In your view, I'd like to have one more question. In your view, is proactive supervision primarily critical for investors or for issuers and market intermediaries? It's open for the... With regard to the proactive supervision.
I'm not quite understanding that question. In your view, is proactive supervision primarily critical for investors or for issuers in market?
I wonder what is proactive supervision.
Yeah, it's a bit subjective, isn't it? So,
Shall we, as a last question, then shall we talk about what are the plans to improve secondary market?
secondary market.
It has been highlighted that the secondary market is very inactive. Mr. Henrik emphasized the importance of secondary market for investor protection.
So the plans are there and the plans are in motion. One step was the development of the automated trading mechanism, which was live in January this year, and that has definitely shifted how the market works, and it has definitely brought in liquidity. But it's not just simply technology or regulation. Like I've been saying, listings need to come in, more market players need to come in. So there was a time where there was just 2 dealers, and then in 2021, First National came in, and then later on, Maldives Securities Trading came in. So currently, we have just 4 dealers, and we can really see, once every dealer comes in and takes their license, how that improves the market, how the trading activity increases. But still, the free float, the amount available to be exchanged between hands is limited. That's where we need to work on. Since 2019, like I said, just after the MIB IPO, we have never had a success in bringing in a public offer to the market, and I hope those change in the future. That will activate the market. Yeah.
So I think with that, we have reached the end of our panel discussion. If anyone wants to add closing remarks. Good?
So, as a closing remark, I would once again thank the pension officer for very appropriately choosing from our side the capital market, subject of capital market to be discussed in this forum. And then before I close, I would like to make a footnote also where we are CMDAs. Basically, we have started a small project that is basically with in recognition. What I'm saying is in recognition of UNDP represented here, this blue economy funding sort of, it's been announced now, but certainly we are going through that one. That is also one way of engaging, I think, tourism into this aspect. So that's also one thing that we are working on. So as far as things go, in total, I would say, I think we all need to basically embrace the capital market as an essential part of our economy. And that has to happen earlier than later because of the statistic I mentioned earlier. The pension office is here. They are basically hosting this one. They have a real challenge in terms of investing their assets. It's not the capital market angle that I'm taking into, it's a national macroeconomic issue. They will not be able to look after the money until the macro indicators are put right. So this is something, the deputy governor was also here, but I think we all have to understand that one. So I'm in the interest of the capital market as well as the pension fund, I'm saying, because both are linked. This is something that we have to keep in mind, because it's a fund that is growing at a rate that we have to keep in mind that this needs to be nurtured, but not destroyed. Thank you.
I think we require a united front, a political seat at the table. I will try to push this through CMDA and the pension office as well to get some form of a Securities Exchange Council that can move, which aligns with the political agenda. So we've seen that happening in small island nations, South African nations. They have, if I take Cabo Verde, for example, they have a very good blue and green bonds listed on their exchange, and that came with political will and Ambition 2030, political agenda. So that is something that lacks in our market, and I don't think exchange alone or CMD alone can achieve, the meaningful progress that we seek. So what we require is a united effort all throughout.
Closing remark.
Yeah.
I fully subscribe what Mr. Manikus just mentioned about the blue economy. I think the big challenge the Maldivian capital market has is scale. And from what I see, it has all the conditions. I'm going to repeat myself, sorry. It has all the conditions to be a global player, a global thematic player in blue economy. Eventually, can consider partnering with a few other locations. There are not so many locations looking at blue economy finance. So becoming an international financial center in blue economy is really, really, really a great opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you very much for our distinguished panelists for sharing such valuable perspectives. I think today's discussion has reinforced a key message that building a resilient capital market requires not just forward-looking regulation and strong supervision, but also collaboration, trust, and commitment across all our stakeholders, which we are doing with them. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
I would like to request our panelists to stay on stage for a quick group photo. Thank you to our panelists for the engaging and informative discussion. Your perspectives on how governance, safeguards, and stronger infrastructure can help build transparent, resilient, and inclusive capital markets were of immense value.
the Pension Office. Please welcome Ms. Sujata Halim.
Good afternoon. Anyone wants to stand up and stretch your legs? Please feel free to, because I'm going to take some time. Not because my presentation is very long, but the minister is on the way, so I have to be here till he arrives. So please feel free to stand up, stretch your legs, and, take a few minutes. This is me buying time. No? Okay. Let me know when you're done. Please feel free to stand up just for a few minutes. See, this is getting better. नहीं just said it. Okay, ta. The mathi bumi. The issue number number. All right, I'm ready to start. Now you can sit. I'm ready to start. I was just getting ready because I was supposed to present after the video. I'm ready to start. Please take your seats. All right. Throughout the day, we've been listening to building a resilient and inclusive capital market. I think my work is almost done here. Everyone, all the panelists and the speakers has covered most of the things that I am supposed to say. But let me also bring in the perspective of Pension Office as the biggest institutional investor. So let's talk about the pension system. We all know that from the conversations that we've had in the morning and looking at our pension office traditionally, we know that we are actually tasked with multiple roles where we disburse the pensions. We also safeguard and grow the retirement savings as the institutional investor, and we are the largest institutional investor, contributing to shaping a well-structured and resilient financial sector and contributing to long-term economic growth and stability. So we do understand this huge responsibility of Pension Office, where we started off as a pension, only in the pension side, but now we are also the biggest institutional investor, and we have funds that is growing at a very fast rate. But to touch on the pension system, we do the old age basic pension and the Maldives retirement pension. The 2009 reform introduced a very well-structured, fiscally sustainable pension system in the Maldives. It was a very well thought through system that we adopted with the help of World Bank. We have been implementing it, and we managed to actually change this, or change it to the requirement of the country. I remember when we first started implementing the pension system, if we all are familiar with pension contributory systems, one of the biggest challenges is non-reconciled funding or unidentified funding. So when we implemented the pension system, this was one big challenge that was we could have had. But then we had a great team who did tell the World Bank. We went into multiple discussions where we convinced them that in Maldives this doesn't have to be. We use the existing systems to make sure that we use our infrastructure to mitigate these risks. And I think today's topic is also how we could use our resources and available infrastructure to develop something much better that we can all work towards. With this also, because I'd like to highlight this time the forum, normally it's an all invitation forum, but this time we did open 50% of the seats for interested candidates to attend. And we got a very, very good support to this. And so because of this, I'd like to highlight, in case some of you know, but just for highlighting it, basic pension is not funded. It is annually budgeted, and the funding comes from the budget on an annual basis. Whereas MRPS is a fully funded pension system where we collect the contributions and there are no unfunded liabilities. These are two separate things. I think often people tend to mistake that we collect the funds and we are disbursing as basic pension, but no. These are two separate things. Basic pension comes from the government budget. MRPS is your funding. You actually collect it during your working years, and then you get paid when you retire. The idea is the number of beneficiaries of basic pension would reduce over years, and MRPS contributors would grow, which actually puts light to what Maniku CEO highlighted, the fund growth. It is growing at such a fast pace, and it is expected to grow faster. Looking at the retirement pension scheme again, it's a pooled contribution system. It ensures sustainability while protecting long-term retirement outcomes. A pension fund to mature, we take about 40 years, contribution period or collection period. So ours is just 17 years. But once it's mature, it should give the expected return, which is we are looking at replacing at least 50 to 60% of your income at retirement. And we are well on target to doing this, I would like to highlight. As the country's largest institutional investor, Pension Office has a fiduciary duty to safeguard member savings and manage its risks prudently. So I think this is where we are a bit conservative, as a lot of us see, but the responsibility is not, just the investments, rather it is, risk-adjusted or prudent investments. Looking at the figures, we have about 3,500 employers registered. I think this covers about 80% of the formal sector of the country. We have about 128,000 active employees. We have about 194,000 RSAs, retirement savings accounts. And the most interesting part, we have about 156 million rupiah collection every month. 156 million rupiah available for investments. 156 million rupiah that is looking for ways to earn, to be utilized in the capital market, to give you benefits on a monthly basis. So Pension Office, as the largest institutional investor, we see that, the fund value is about 26.2 billion rupiah right now. And if you look at it as a percentage of real GDP, it's about 25% of the real GDP. And if we, at the current rate, we see that it would exceed the GDP in 13 years. So we really need this capital market to be developed. We need investment options. We need to give the returns to the members. If you look at the similar numbers in India or in Indonesia, and in India, it's, a pension fund is just about 14% of the GDP. Indonesia, it's just 6.5%. So ours is already 25% within just 17 years. So we can see the way we are headed. This is where we get stuck. Investment strategy. Not stuck, but this is what we believe needs to be done. We have, our investment strategy is guided by an SOIP, which is in line with the ESA guidelines and best practices. This is people's money we are investing, so we need to have best practices in place. We need to have proper guidelines, and we need to follow certain prudent risk return measures that needs to be implemented. That is why our SOIP is built in such a way. We had a lot of help from Henrik, who is also ESA's consultant for developing the investment strategy of ESA in coming up with our investment guidelines and SOIP. We act prudently, preferring security, liquidity, diversity, and transparency of investments as measures to achieve maximum risk-adjusted returns. We are always looking at risk-adjusted returns, the maximum risk-adjusted returns. The objective is to get adequate retirement outcome, obviously, which is not the only thing. We are looking at always, pension office as an institution always tries to exceed the expectation. And we are always striving to do this. So, I mean, if you look at the numbers, even if we earn 5%, we are still meeting our goals. But that is not what we're trying to do here. We need to get better retirement outcome for our people. We know this is a social, thing where we have to take care of our elderlies. We need to be the support system for them when they retire, when they are unable to, work and earn their income. So it is a huge responsibility, and we do understand this. MRPS has has the potential to contribute to the development of the country, because as you would be aware, pension funds are a huge player in the economic and development of the countries. And we would actually like to do that too. While right now our investments are all in short term, we would like to partner as development partners, look at projects, sustainable projects that could actually bring development, economic growth to the country. That is what we are seeking. If you look at the market presence, we have a strong presence across the market, both public and private listings. We do due diligences. Our due diligences are pretty robust and very well planned. Our requirements are established. It is there, published, what we look at. We have our requirements on our website. Anyone who is coming to the market who is interested in raising funds can see what are the things we look at in a company or a project before they can, they come up with their prospectus or come to the market. And we also do, I mean, if it's a new project, we would also guide you all how it would make, how we would be more inclined towards going to it. So there's always room for discussion how we can actually make this work. the due diligence is, this is what underscores our, impact and our responsibility to shape the market as an institutional investor which has the resources to do this. I think our messaging is quite strong when it comes to the other investors in the market, and we need, that's why we need to work together to make sure, whatever the product comes to the market succeeds. For this, we need to have this conversation earlier on rather than at the last minute. So together we can, I think the entire day we've been talking about what we can do together. And I think, again, I'm repeating the same thing, but what we need is to have this conversation, be very open, and see what are our requirements, what are your requirements, where we can meet halfway. And I'm sure we can make this forum and, yield a very productive way forward for the capital market. Looking ahead, we are very focused on sustainability of the pension system. We need the pension system because we need to have this money to pay back. And we are looking at domestic diversification. We've been an active player in the private listings. We've supported, because we know the private sector would support the economic growth, and this would yield, a better economic growth and a better income for everyone. So we are actively seeking this. And also, I think one very important thing we seek is to be a development partner. We need to be the development partner for the country. It's very important that, these funds, which belongs to all of us, is utilized for the development, for the economic boost of the country, to invest in projects that yield returns economically as well as, returns for the people. So it's very important that we talk to each other, try to come up with projects which would lead to development of the country, be it blue economy, tourism sector, or any other sector, infrastructure, but we would like to be the development partner. Also, I believe we had this conversation, we touched on this in the morning also. We cannot just have a Rufia, pension fund. We need to diversify internationally. We need to look at the, protect ourselves from the currency risks and other risks in single portfolio. So this is another area that we're looking at. From the office side, or from the pension office side, we are building the infrastructure or readiness to go international. We've been talking to Henrik on how we can achieve this, and we want to protect ourselves from the domestic shocks that could come, and we are aware of this and we're working towards. That's why the tourism bonds and the other dollar yielding bonds becomes more important and attractive to us. Like Manixio said, yeah, I think it's not early. We need to talk about it. We've been looking at international expansion and how we could actually secure a different currency. This is one thing we've been talking about through the day. I think main thing is inclusivity, collaboration, and confidence and transparency. How we could actually transform household savings into how we could bring it to the capital market or into the economy to get the best yield that's needed. I'm not going to go through the journey, but growth of pension office definitely, like Manixio said again, pension office needs the capital market to grow, and definitely capital market needs pension office to work with them. So we are committed to this. We want to be the foundation for the broader development of the capital market. We are committed to work with all the industry players and develop this, expand our investments. Well, a well-developed capital market is the gateway to the sustainable economic growth. We've spoken about this over and over, and we need, again, I think I'm repeating myself a lot, but we need this again. And one of my very good friend mentioned in a recent presentation that she was doing, paradise to portfolio. Nurban mentioned in the CFO conference, why can't we dream of that? I think that's what we should be. We, as a country, we need to dream big, not just limit to the local capital market, but to work with, to reach higher and to go international. We have the resources that we can capitalize on. We have the paradise. We just need to turn it into a portfolio. Right, Nurban? So economic growth and capital market definitely goes hand in hand. And we need the economic growth. We need fiscal sustainability. We need to get the wheels moving so that we earn the returns that we are seeking. For pension office, now that we are in the 17th year, we are going to, complete that cycle of contribution in another few years. So by then our liabilities will start, or we have to start payout, and then we have to make sure, it's not just returning or just meeting the expectation. We are striving to exceed the expectation. We don't need to just, earn 5% and be comfortable about it. We need to get better returns to our members. We see that there is definitely progress in capital market. We've seen over the past 2 years, 2-3 years with Vienna coming into play, there has been more activity. But I think while we see the progress, there are challenges. We've spoken about this in the morning also, the liquidity challenges. There's no depth in the market. And even when we go for Vienna products, it's like we have to buy and hold. As an institutional investor, I think Henrik highlighted how we need to not be doing that. Rather, we need to have liquidity in the market where if we want to exit from a product, we have the opportunity to do that. And pension fund being a social protection fund, we need to do that more than any other because we are investing your money. We have the potential for different market instruments like structured, hybrid structured products, FX, ETFs, inflation-listed products. So these are all opportunities that is there. We need to work on these, and now we have a number of players coming to the market which would actually develop these products. And even if you look at just pension office, there's so much room. The pension fund has so much room. There's room for many players to come to the market and, and develop this. There's no competition here. We can all work together because I think we all are working towards the same goal. So there's room for many competitors or many, I wouldn't even call it competitors yet, maybe down the line, probably, but right now there's so much room that we all can work and try to achieve what we are trying to do. We've spoken about pricing, spoke about rates that may not be fully reflecting the underlying risks, which is something a pension office is quite careful about during investments. So the rates and the risks and the risk-adjusted return, again, is what we look at. So as an institutional investor, we, I think, have one of the biggest roles in this capital market development. with a small economy like ours, we need to be the, one of the driving forces. We need to work with CMDA and MSE to, and of course the market players, asset managers, and everyone to make sure that, the capital market grows. We have the available resources. We need a long-term stable capital market. We need to reduce the information asymmetry. This is something we've touched upon again in the morning. There needs to be, and we need to encourage stronger governance. I think there were interesting questions during the panels where, what could we do? Governance, I think it all comes down to governance and transparency. We need to build the investor confidence and attract wider participation. Like I think this was also mentioned during the day, why not the banks? Why not other banks? Why not other institutional investors play actively in the market? We alone cannot do it. Even though we have the funds, pension office alone cannot do it. We need to have partners who will also contribute to the growth of the capital market, where we have liquidity and where we have options to exit if needed. So I think that is one of the biggest cautious decisions that we have to take, that when we go for an investment. The means of exiting it are very limited, or rather non-existent. And then we are stuck with the second-hand car or the lemon. So this is the situation we have. Well, collaboration, I think this was highlighted through the day. It all comes down to collaboration. We, as an institutional investor, regulators, and other market players play a key role, but resilient and inclusive capital market can be achieved only through collaboration, collective effort to build trust and confidence. This can be done together with a strong foundational structure. We need the regulations to align with, and also have flexibility or room for the new products to come in, while there is investor protection also. As a defined contributory pension system, our main responsibility is to safeguard member savings and deliver sustainable retirement outcomes. Safeguard member savings and deliver sustainable retirement outcomes. A resilient and more efficient capital market goes hand in hand with this mission. Without a capital market, I don't think we can deliver on it. But its development requires a collective effort involving regulators, issuers, investors, and the public. By building trust and confidence in the market and by broadening the base of institutional investors, we can achieve both retirement security for our members and long-term resilience for the Maldivian economy. Thank you. Oh, I think the minister is on the way. He is actually the chief guest, but he wasn't able to join in the morning because he had a cabinet meeting, but I am very glad that he is coming even at this time, which shows the government's commitment to making this hope of ours, the building a resilient and inclusive capital market a reality. Thank you.
Thank you, CEO, for the impactful presentation. Before we continue with the next item on the agenda, we will now watch a brief video about the Pension Office.
crystal clear waters, pristine beaches, and vibrant coral reefs. This is the Maldives most people know. But beyond these breathtaking views, there lies a deeper story. Our story. One of unity, harmony, and resilience. The story begins with our ancestors who laid the foundation of a society built on mutual support, intergenerational care, and collective resilience. It continues with our parents and grandparents who placed unity, harmony, and well-being of the community at the heart of every choice, every sacrifice, and every achievement. Today we are here to carry this story forward by establishing sustainable social protection systems and creating a livable society for all. Rooted in the same values and driven by the same vision, we at the Maldives Pension Administration Office are proud to be a part of this story, and we are committed to contribute to this story by empowering individuals to retire in dignity and enhancing quality of life, by investing in causes that uplift us all, and by standing as a testament to the strength in unity, uncovering opportunities, overcoming challenges, and forging meaningful connections that may not have been possible alone.
We will now take a short 10-minute coffee break. The session will resume at 4:20 p.m. and we kindly request all participants to return to the hall on time. Thank you.
change.
Welcome back, everyone. As we are about to resume the session, may I kindly request everyone to take their seats. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. It gives us immense pleasure to extend a warm welcome to our distinguished chief guest, Honorable Minister of Finance and Planning, Mr. Musa Zamir, who will now address this forum. Ladies and gentlemen, Please join me in warmly welcoming Minister Musa Zamir to the stage.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Rayatum Majlihoge Izzetteri memberun, Pension Office Board Chairperson, Dr. Ahmad Inaz, Board Member Adi Chief Executive Officer Sujata Halim, Capital Market Development Authority Chairperson Muhammad Hussain Manik, Mosasatoge Veri, Adi Forum Vadanti Bevemeha Izzeteri. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dehas Baro Naharam Fishigan, Pension Office, Kamagule Faratoge Barumak, Bavamu, the MALDIVES Finance Forum ki, Dirajeg Mali Daira, Kururuma Gule, Muhim Mashwaratake, Hinga Forum. Egotun Emmenge Baverivung Himene, Vilunter Capital Market Gaim Kurung, Mitim Dashum Beve, Barona Finance Forum ga Bavre, Tia Em Befuna, Muhatab Kurmaki, Aurana Libe, Varabodu Ufade. Aun deke gotuga miyaharge forum kandala fawa mithimaki wara munasab adi kama gule gotun alun men mashwara kon hiyal badal kuranje muhim muthime dirajeg issad en aharun anen ahara kuyara mondair gomag mali nizam emme boda barosa me fawani banku taka names infrastructure vfari bohiya wahikan faturerikan adi ufaddan terikan adi nu iksada beenumwa financing hama ekani beenkutokum meduerukon hodumaki datikame hama ehemme eterege aamdanige nizamge hardana kurmasha demehettene taraggiya beeruge ehiya loan barosavon kudakurmaki ves muhimmu kame yak taraggiye mashruta ka beenumwa faasa hodumaki public finance medueruko kuran undagu kame Mikankan hallu kuruma hardana domestic capital market muhim egotun digmuddata rakka kura faasa invest kurana goittan hodumasha financing fursata fulako iksuad vilunterikan ituru kuruma capital market ge muhimmu dawren ada kure tafat investment product taraf ko e fursata ulwada jehe adi qawmaga mali bazaraki huriha farayataka Huriha Farataka Faseha Fahi Bazarekan Algonmen Kashwar Koranjehe. Nemetini Landanitaka Egota Eklefava Bonda Sukuka Fehi Adi Nu Bondtahoga Invest Kurumuge Fursota Gaimko Kudi Adi Medfantiga Viafaritaka Eheng Niheng Insurance Anghenun Isnagaga Hinga Viafartaka Benuva Capital Fasehen Hoda de Magwe Kodenje. Ham ehme pension fund for the institutional investor na Mikamuga Muhim Dawaran Ada Kurveni capital market governance Harudanako Hamakam Bodokoge. Videne Kankamaki Sarukara Ekani Hasil Kurvena Kankamevesno Mikan Kurveni Sarukara regulatoruna Amil Kumfunitaka institutional investor Adi Am Farudun Himene Emmen Guliga Masake Koge. Private sector Kuriyaru Mataka Bara Emme Muhim Ekamaki private sector Fasa Libene Gotake Hodum Egotum Misadaka Pension Fund Fundung Komme Mahigmacha Gaganda Kambi Ekureve Satek Fansas million Rufia Aulmen Miharabure Fasehan private sector invest kurvena gottang hodan ebaje mikamuga risk analyze ko adi mikama gulunhuri huriha dairatake mashwara koge rating majliha adi egituru sarkara mashwara koge ituru magfahiwana gottang hoda private sector ga mi fasa invest kurvena gottake revmaki mihar kommen kuranji fekkame ekamattaka alun irad kurviya rais jumhuriyas dandawanga di sarkaruge policy egota battan kurmattaka masake kurana den alun dannawadangoti mihar sarukara මිහාරුස් මිදන්නවා ෆෑසාගතරෙන් කොම්මස්වරක සරකාරන් අබදස් ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරමුන්දේ ඒ අරුණ හීවනි බයිෆාර බේබේෆුන ඔලිවඩාන්න ඔන්න එච්ච මි හොරියා ෆෑසා සරකාරෂ ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරනි මුලින් එහෙනවස් නුන් අරුණ හීවනි රාජ්‍යයක එකශීගෙන්වා risk analysis hedifa risk mitigate kof baifaru raham private sector gas ade egiturun aluna hiwa gotu mijja public confident to gas ebuhuri pension fund invest kof e mi magfai kurumattaka jaga hoda dinume gotun alumen fasa pension fund nu sarkara fasa beenun kora adadu maduko adihama eya ekuga ekam magfai kurumattaka koddanje ekantatan alumen koddena ama midanduwalu alun dannawadam beenum ve adi sarkaram beenun kura faasaves income generate kuravene infrastructure ka hada project toga invest kurumaki ei alume mustaqbal ga badana kameke migantatta migota kurima aluna gabul korave gotuga rajyege miharu aluna midani miharu international finance center en ebade adi eya ekkon hama offshore bank intro itur bank tang annan kama aluna me gabul korweni kurenge ganaka ආහාරද්‍ය ආහාරෙන් හදුවස්තරේ අන්නේරුක අවුන්මෙන් මාකට් මැචුවා කුරුමට්ටක කුරංජේ කන්තතව තෙරේක අවුන්මෙ පෙන්ෂන් ෆන්ඩුගේ මුහිම රෝදේ හිස් පෙන්ෂන් ෆන්ඩුගේ රෝද අදි හිස්සා ඉතුරු කුරුමකි අවුන්මෙන් කොම්මෙන් කුරානකම දැන් මියදහම මිතන අන්නමුන් අවුන්ඩ හිතන් එරි බදාදානමේ රාජ්‍යයේ අවුන්මෙන්ගේ සුඛූකගේ අග මෙහාර කිනතේ ඒ අවුන්මෙන් රයිස් මොයිස් රේකම හවාද වඩාන්නේ ෆහම මිදිය දුවස්තරේ කුරවුන් මසකෙතකුන් investorun dekapore kinto me ganaka demen ha doskuren around rajyege sukuge invest kofte investorun nak online meeting ges barwi alun badalir ufavere habaraki dehas 22 naharuge medaka jehige medam feshigen badar miyada hisaba badalir mihar miyodu sukuge aguhori emme matiga maneki alun gabu kor mita tibbe befuna ingodan wan kekam alun gemi waha kadwa ahemmi hunna අමානකි රාජ්‍යයේ ඉක්සෝද මෙ හිඟමුන්දා ගොත අවුරුම මෙ මිකුරා මසක්කෙත්තවක ඉන්වෙස්ටරුන්ගේ කොන්ෆිඩන්ස් අප බිල්ඩුවම් පරාෆිය ගෑගණක ෆේස් වැලියු ආ හිසාබන් අවුරුම හිවනි මිහාර මිදා ට්‍රැජෙක්ටරි ගේ වෙජ්ජකම වෙජ්ජියා සුකූකුගේ අගු අරානේ එම්විම අවුරුම මෙ දනි රංගොළු මගුන්කන් එයා දේතරේ අවුරුම මෙහා ශක්කෙන් නුකරන් ඒ අවුරුම මෙන්න නු investors ge rating alun midene investors alun menge sugo ganna jahafure aguga wahaka midene ehme e khabar alun bada devone hitan heri hama wahakis dannawada neme nimmalmu kurin alun ti emme befuna dannawada beenwani madamage jeel taka huri fursata binawani miyadu alun men nimma nimmun taka ala fiol taka kashe ehenkama market ka harakaterwa emmenge baaruun ekudeve vidunter capital market ගාම කුරවි ජනම ගාමගේ ඉක්සාද කුරියර හරුදනා වමා එකු ඉතුරු රජතුන්ගේ මාලි රක්කාතරකම් කුරියර වෙනකම කව යගින්කම් එබෝතේ වීමා මේ මසකතුක අනුමෙන් එම්මෙන් එක්ක මසක කුරුම ගොවාද මියහර මියහරුගේ මෝල්ඩිස් ෆයිනෑන්ස් ෆෝරම කීවස් කාමියා ෆෝරම කමුග අරුන් යගින් කුරන් හුරියා බේෆුණන් උෆාවර දුවහකන් අදි මේ ෆෝරම ඉතුරු කුරියරුන් එදි දුවා කරුන් والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Shukriya, Honorable Minister. We now move to the final session of the forum, a visioning exercise under the National Development Plan. Nexia Maldives will guide us through an interactive session titled Imagining the Future of Finance in the Maldives 2045. The session will be introduced by Mr. Hamid Sadiq, Managing Director and Team Leader for the National Development Plan Formulation Project, and it will be conducted by Mr. Mohammad Inas, Director of Climate Change and Sustainable Development at Nexia Maldives. Please join me in welcoming the team from Nexia Maldives.
It has been a while that Maldives have not had a long-term national development plan, and now we are going to have one again. And today, all of you, the best, the most brilliant brains in the finance sector, are going to work with us and help us to vision the national development plan, especially on the vision in the future of finance in the country. We are the technical partner of the government of Maldives in their initiative to develop this long-term plan. Next year, Maldives is a management consulting and assurance service provider. We are active in socio-economic research, consulting, audit, assurance, and taxation. We have been in existence for the last 18 years. I'm going to give you a very brief introduction to our work, and then I will let Inas to take on in conducting the activity. Resilient Maldives 2045, Prosperity for All. This is the plan or the vision we are going to have for the next 20 years. Let me just quickly run through the conceptual framework we are using for this exercise. In essence, our method is based on two key drivers. One is that it will be through a consultative process where we like to have engagement of everyone in contributing to this vision. And secondly, we are also going to base it on evidence. So it will be a data-driven process as well. So to frame it in a single slide, on engagement of all key stakeholders, we use a framework called the quadruple helix framework. It is a framework which encourages collaborative and a partnership approach to envisioning creative and a sustainable development process. So it emphasizes the collaboration between the key stakeholders, the government, private sector, civil society, as well in this process. So based on the input we derive from the consultations, we move on to the next phase or the next stage. The donut model is where we try to, donut model is a sustainable development framework where the humanity essentially has to thrive under the ecological limitations, or rather without degrading the environment we live in. Also, we need to be above the flow of the social foundations. So this is the safe and just space where the humanity can thrive without crossing biophysical limits or planetary limits, while ensuring that everyone is benefited or prosperity is ensured for everyone. So based on our analysis on this, we try to, or rather we work on the theory of change. That is where we try to connect, assess the feasibility through an evidence-based process. We try to connect the strategies or activities with through a causal relationship where we connect the dots. The activities will result on the outcomes we desire to get. And since this is a long-term development process, or it looks rather into a very long future, we need to use some scenario modeling to see how the actions or directions we choose will result in different outcomes, and do comparisons and scenario analysis to arrive at a model and come up with strategies that would work best for the Maldives. So next, I will briefly touch upon the stakeholder engagement. As I said, to ensure consultative process, we try to devise various tools and avenues to engage everyone who could participate or contribute through various means which they can. And today we are very glad and like to thank you for coming here and giving your time and contribution to the development of the plan. And I'd like to thank Pension Office for giving us this time to pick your brains and get your assistance in the plan we try to develop for our country. So our main stakeholder engagement tools are key informant interviews. These are where we try to get the insights from key experts in various fields, not only those with knowledge, but those with expertise, experience, and especially lived experiences as well. And sector roundtables will be a main part of our strategizing process. This is when we bring sector experts around key sectoral issues, and we would like your engagement beyond today as well in contributing and participating in the sector roundtables. Towards the end, I will share you a link where you could provide us your contact details if you would like to contribute to various sector roundtables and other consultation avenues that we have. Town hall meetings is a key part of our engagement strategy. Town halls are where we would travel across all the inhabited islands and provide an avenue for the residents and citizens of each island to contribute to the national development planning process. Focus group discussions is where, again, an avenue which we would like you to help us more in the future. For specific issues or issues affecting specific groups, we would have smaller focus group discussions, which is apart from the sector roundtables. Written submissions will be open very soon. Call for papers is already out through our internet website and social media. And we would also launch a specific web portal for this where anyone who would like to give stronger or research-based solutions or researches which they have conducted, or give us ideas on to the policy or concept notes, which may be very, very short, which you could share impromptu ideas, or those which there are no evidence, but which you would like to still suggest to us. Online surveys we are conducting to give a wider public another avenue to provide their input into this process. Towards the end of the consultation process, we will hold a national conference where we would bring about 200 odd participants from across the country to look at and to discuss and debate on the strategies. And this would be a 2-day conference, and I hope to see again some of you or many of you in this conference as well. And we would be disseminating the information as well as collecting input for this process through social media and our web portal. So that's in summary how our methodology and the engagement tools that we like to use. And today is one of the avenues which is not specifically listed here, but still very important. During this period, where we conduct our stakeholder engagements. If there are any conferences or organized on various forums, we would like to be part of it and get the input of the participants. Now I'll pass to Inas to take this activity. Mohammad Inas is the Climate Change and Sustainable Development Director at Nexia Maldives.
Thank you, Hamid. Good afternoon, everyone. So just to be clear, not all the 200 participants that are going to attend the national conference are going to be odd, although it's 200 odd participants, as Hamid suggested. So my task here is to conduct a visioning exercise with all of you. It's slightly, I don't want to use the word intimidating, because all of you are very highly respected financial people, and I'm here, climate change and sustainable guy. But let's put it this way, respectful fear. But it is a great platform for this very high level engagement. So we thought we'll utilize this, and we're very grateful for the Pension Administration Office for giving us the opportunity to do this. You have on your tables what we would be doing. There is a 2-sheet pager with you. They call it 1-pagers, but it comes to 2 pages. What we're going to do for the next few minutes is go to the future. There's this saying by Dr. Ralph Mercer. This one is adopted. It says, if you do nothing, you get the future you deserve, not the future you need or want. So what we're going to do is do this. We're going to go to the future we want. In order to do that, I'm going to kindly, respectfully, and fearfully ask you to come to the edge of your seats. Right now, you're very comfortable seated in the seats, but come to the edge of your seats. Yeah, because we're going to go up to 2045. Okay? The next bit is even more fearful, all right? What we are now going to do is close our eyes. And that's very scary for finance people, because the moment you close your eyes, your account is in trouble. So if you can't close your eyes, stare down at your feet and start breathing and realize that you are actually breathing. So take a breath in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. And now you travel into 2045 and imagining what the finance situation is in 2045. What it is like in 2045 in your mind. Think positive. I will give you 10 seconds to stay positive in 2045. All right, now slowly close your eyes. Yes, you've closed your eyes. Now slowly open them. And you're back. You're back in 2025. And now what we're going to do is follow this exercise of how you got there into 2045, that vision you just had in 2045. To do that, we are helping you with some of the themes that we've developed. There are 5 themes, and we have about 16 tables. So how do we divide this? Which means 3 for each theme. So the first 3 to raise their first hand would get theme 1. But here are the themes if you want to have a look. So who wants theme 1? Since there are none, there is one at the back, that's 1. There are 2 more of theme. Let's do it this way. The last row will be theme 1. The next row up front will be theme 2. And the next one, 4, 5, like that, all right? So the first row is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, okay? Everyone clear with which theme they're working on? Perfect. All right. Let's go through the themes and the questions that we have. To help you further, we've come up with... So theme 1, all right? Theme 1 says risk-based and inclusive lending. Here, what's happening is that in 2045, banks lend based on transparent, risk-based assessments, not just collateral. And micro, small, medium enterprises and underserved communities thrive. How did we get here? Yep. What data and credit systems or regulatory reforms made this possible? How did blended finance or government incentives help? That's one, group 1. 2 is what the CEO of Pension Administration Office has been calling for, capital market. Yes, so this one is about, by 2045, the capital market is deep, transparent, and a key engine of development. What steps built this market? What reforms attracted institutional investors and issuers? What reforms attracted MPAO to come in? How did technology investor education help, right? That's 2. Second one from the last. Third one, possibly my favorite, climate and green finance for resilience. In 2045, finance in the Maldives supports climate resilience and green growth. What financing tools, institutions, and partnerships help us lead this transition? What did the role of ESG reporting, green bonds, and carbon pricing play? How was access to global climate finance improved? That's the third theme for the third row from behind. Fourth row from behind, that's the second row from front, innovation, fintech, and digital transformation. In 2045, digital finance platforms and fintechs have revolutionized access, security, and service delivery. What infrastructure and safeguards enabled this? What role did regulatory sandboxes, digital ID, and open banking play? How was trust, cybersecurity, and inclusion managed? Yep. The first row will hopefully work on this. Maldives as a regional finance hub. By 2045, Maldives is a niche financial services hub in the region. What institutional and regulatory evolution supported this vision? What segments positioned Maldives competitively? And how did talent development and investor confidence grow? So these are the 5. And this is what we plan to do. For the next 20-25 minutes, craft a vision statement for your, after having discussed, of course, for your team, craft this vision statement. There is a statement already. You could amend that, or you could come up with your own vision. That would be preferable. And list 2 or 3 enabling strategies that brought that. Okay? After about 20 minutes of discussion, you can just write it down on that big sheet of paper, the A3 size paper provided. We're making you work, so thank you for coming. After you've written it down, we'll have one from each team do a rapid presentation of, from your seats, of course, of what you jotted down, and share with everybody else. But very importantly for us, all the sheets that you write upon, we'll use it as input as data collection for our analysis. So in advance, thank you very much for all what you will write down. But shall we start now? Who is not ready? Right, everybody is ready. So everybody clear with the task? If not, it's here on the paper in front of you on your table. First row is 5, second row is 4, third row. These are columns, this is row. There are Nexia people around, so if you have doubts, I'm not the one to talk to. So here are the 5 themes, just in case, your paper isn't working for your table. Thank you very much. It's been 5 minutes since you've been working. How's your team doing? Perfect, yes. People are using technology. Hello, Aisha. How's your team?
Yeah, we're good. We have a risk professional leading it.
Do you have a vision or a few?
Yeah. We have a on-the-ground strategies.
Okay. I'll leave you to it, yes. Some people have on-the-ground strategies going already. Team 5? Good. 5 is not bad. Yeah. All right, hands on, you're done. Okay.
You have a lot of work to do.
Perfect, perfect.
You have a lot of work to do.
No.
You took a risk in a lot of
Break all the barriers.
That is good.
You gave the wrong team, wrong topic.
Wrong time, wrong equals right. You are going to make it right for us. Thank you in advance again. How are you? Wow.
With the international collaboration.
With international collaboration.
Bhutan, India, and Maldives.
Now there is a regional dimension to it. You have to see how China fits in or not. And then whether there is a push or pull.
We have to see.
We have to see. Some groups are reporting that they've done it. So your vision statements and a couple of points on how you got that vision achieved in 2045. You've already achieved that vision. How did you achieve that vision? tafadhali. Okay, you've completed 10 minutes of hard work. Okay, let's say we have 5 more minutes. Oh, the thing group nimma Two minutes. Andrew.
What's the... Oh, you are ready for that.
Divij. Got it.
Take less than 5 minutes.
Okay. Okay, you are in your last minute of doing this work, not your last minute. Twenty seconds. All right, thank you very much. I think that ends the time now. Now we're going to do that 2-minute pitch well, we can't have all the tables doing this, so maybe one from each team. Team 5, who would like to go? Okay. Sorry if they took it.
We'll do 5 later, but they have to go start from 1
No, we're going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we blast off. Oh, you got a mic here. Yeah, the mic. Thank you, Wahid, for volunteering.
Thanks,
Group 5.
Tim. Yes. So our vision for 2045 is business with pleasure. So our main mission statement is to position the Maldives as a leading global financial hub that harmonizes innovative digital finance with Islamic principles, fostering inclusive growth and sustained prosperity for all. So how we are going to get there? We are going to have good skills development policies with education and certification, good digital infrastructure, good healthcare systems, where the end result would be that regional countries such as China, India, where the high net worth individuals' home offices will be set up in the Maldives, and they will enjoying good tax systems with sound laws and regulations which are predictable and dependable and with a good court system. Thank you.
Thank you. That's thought out. That's well thought out. Right. Team 4, Innovation, FinTech, and Digital Transformation. All right, that was fast.
pressured. So since everyone has the paper, I'm not going to read out the theme, but to follow the momentum, I'm just going to ask everyone to close your eyes. Why not? Close your eyes and envision the 2045, where everything is going to be fintech. Yeah? So now you can open your eyes and imagine. Imagine that you're walking into a supermarket. Imagine you, each one of you, you're walking into a supermarket. It has absolutely everything you want. So you've taken everything. You didn't do anything else. You just walk out. You didn't think about anything. You went in, took whatever you want, and you walked out. Did I pay? Of course I did. So that's our vision for 2045. We are thinking of a Maldives where we don't think about finance. We just walk in and we just walk out. Yeah? So it's basically an idea where the strategies will be built around digital ID. So from now to 2045, we will be walking the path to have a digital ID where we, the individual, the person, becomes our most authentic verification for finance. So we are the wallet. We are the walking, talking ATM. So when we walk in, the place will know who we are, how much money do we have. Whether I want to pay a bill, I will walk in and I'll pay and I'll just walk out. That's our vision. So to do that, we would need a strategy for digital finance exchange mechanism, which basically means an integrated digital framework to ensure that the financing, payment modalities, and data exchanges work. Other than that, we would need a strategy for digital data exchange mechanism. So basically for personal data, for corporate data, for finance data, like whatever other data that we need to build AI resilient Maldives that would work for our 2045 vision. Nice. So our idea is that there should be enabling laws and regulations, obviously, such as privacy laws, data, cybersecurity for people, for corporates of all forms, intellectual property rights, commercial data protection laws and regulations. So we're not, of course, able to think of everything right now, but when we say something so big as a human being becoming the authentication factor, that means we're going to need a lot of laws and regulations to enable that. So other than that, we feel like there should be a digital transformation authority, which is independent. I don't know whether authority and ministries would be a thing by 2045. Maybe it might be outdated, but something like that, like an institutional independent body that will create the future that we want. So we see a body like that, making sure that all this happens. So that's our vision. We didn't think about how we will finance this thing because we saw that many others have themes for capital market financing, SME financing, blah, blah, blah. So we are hoping others have solutions that will pave way for our businesses to create that 2045 where we walk in and walk out. So, yeah.
Wow, thank you very much. Does any of the other team for groups want to add to that? Hamad, maybe you could give the mic to Shuhad and the team. So, no, Hamad, the team 4 teams.
Yeah, we aren't as hip as that group, but we would probably be replacing our physical currency with CBDs. So for that, we probably need proper regulations around that area. Central bank digital currencies. We had instant credit approvals for those who want to not buy things, but I mean for investment purposes. But for that, we would have our credit history properly. How would I say? properly analyzed. We would have our own credit score, instant credit score, which based on that financial institutions will approve or disapprove, or we will know in advance if you're getting anything or not. And on cybersecurity, I think we talked about having, we do have some laws and regulations. I don't know. But I think we need some more stricter practical regulation around this that needs to be implemented if we want to have people onboarded within these new systems as well. And finally, homegrown tech as well. We need that because we are depending a lot on foreign vendors right now, which could go kaput anytime. So we really need to depend on sort of producing our own pool, which supports these developments. So that's it, basically.
Thank you. What about the last group that worked on fintech innovation and digital transformation?
Yeah, we have our vision statement is smart contracts through tokenization and distributed ledger will enable any transaction in the future. So that's our vision statement, and enable strategies recognition and regulations to support our vision, and national IT infrastructure to align with international efforts to make it a reality. And also national legal efforts to undertake tokenization and enable smart contracts.
Okay, thank you. Now, we didn't give a chance to the other Team 5 groups to have a go. So let's have Team 5 groups add on to what Wahid was talking about earlier. Your Team 4? You had a title for your team.
Yeah. Yeah, the title for us is, it's blue translated to Divehi, so it's NU, N-U, and a hyphen and a hub. So, NU Hub. And our vision is the Maldives is a trusted and dynamic regional financial hub, leveraging blue finance to channel sustainable investment and drive inclusive prosperity. And following with, there's the three enabling strategies for us. And first one started with the policy and regulatory leadership. So there are, I will quickly go through 2 points. Establish a dedicated blue finance framework and positioning CMDA, and there is a new institution created by then, MIFC, Maldives International Financing Corporation, and as regional leaders in green and blue bond. The second point is talent and governance and ecosystem development, which is mostly about creating a regional center for sustainable finance training in partnership with UNDP, IFC, and global other universities. And finally, concluding it with innovation and technology, this is mostly about the launching digital platforms for technology, Blue Sukuk, carbon credits, and ocean-linked investment products, and leveraging fintech for inclusive access bridging in both institutional and retail investors across the region. Thank you.
Thank you. I think there was an additional group at the last, I think the last table was also working on Team 5, right? Do you have anything to add to those two? No, I see shaking heads. In which case, we can go to Team 3. Let's start with one of the groups, because the other groups will be adding on anyway. Third row. Climate and green finance for resilience.
Yeah, thank you. So, greetings from the future. We just had a $500 million valuation resort being sold off in the capital market. This is just what happened in the future, today, in 20 years in the future. So our theme is about climate and green finance for resilient, but we're just gonna, we just rephrased it in a way. So think about it. We just valued a resort for $500 million. How much can we value a lagoon for? How much can we value Dappar for? Dappar is an island. How much can we value a kuli or something that's something inherent in Maldivian islands? So if you value these natural resources, how much of a valuation can we get for whole islands? A total of 1,196. So these islands all have a value. So this is what we told the masses. Do you want to destroy this value just for additional housing for reclamation? That's something we've told the masses. And they all said, no, exactly. So what we did was we put a valuation on the natural resources of the nation and then created a mechanism in these resources can be utilized for raising finance and access to finance. So think about Hanifar Bay being utilized as an asset for green financing or blue financing bond or a sukuk. Think about that. Think about how many millions of tourists visit Hanifar Bay, maybe tax on them for visiting, and that could be utilized as a means to repayment for the bond or the sukuk. So the end result is climate resilience. This is our vision. How did we get there? Number one, we put a moratorium on 2025. We put a moratorium on destroying all natural resources of the country. So we're not going to destroy any natural resource, not for any basic need, even for essential needs also, because the value is much higher than what we anticipate at the moment. Okay. Number two, we educated general masses on the value of these assets. Number three, and then we technically, even if we utilize a natural resource, we give it enough time for it to regenerate to its former self. So it's in a sustainable manner. That's it.
Thank you. That's very good, because there's already some groundwork being done to that direction, I think in Lamoto, natural capital accounting, they say. So does any of the team, 3 people, want to add to that? There are 2 more tables. If you want to add, Shafaz, no? This team? Yeah, they're trying to get the mic working. Yeah, it's working now.
Hello, everyone. So while we were in 2045 with Azmin and the other teams, we saw something that I'm sure all of us will be very happy about. All the ambitions that we are talking about today, all the resilient environment that we are trying to create, it has all happened. And how it happened? Our capital market became a hub for climate-aligned financing. Renewable energy platforms now power solar panels in islands. Social impact bonds have funded health and education projects all across the country. And catastrophe bonds have strengthened disaster preparedness with layered support from donors and global reinsurers. And talking about our tourism industry, which Azmin has touched on, tourism and the blue economy are fully integrated into sustainable finance here in 2045. Tourism sustainability bonds have upgraded resorts with renewable energy and waste systems. And Blue Economy and Fisheries Fund, we have a Blue Economy and Fisheries Fund in 2045. It has modernized fisheries, driven ocean innovation. We also have dollar-denominated instruments which continue to attract foreign investors. So dollar-denominated instruments not only exist in 2045, it is continuing to attract foreign investors. So between 2025 and now, which is in 2045, we will see the dollar-denominated instruments becoming introduced and driving resilient economic growth in our economy. So in 2045, blended climate finance is not just a concept, it is the new norm. making markets investable in high-risk, long-term projects, and turning the Maldives into a model of climate-resilient and sustainable economic growth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Team 2, if Team 3, the other group does not want to add, yeah, you do.
Okay, I would like to add a few points to what she has mentioned, actually. So my vision is actually to integrate those things, whether what we can do in the year or before 2025. Maybe, so what my thinking is, our group thinking is, as a vision, sustainable finance be a, driving a green growth. So to do that, actually, the financial institutions, they have to actually embed all, embed sustainability in the financials and corporate decision making. So if that happens, actually, then the investors should do or incorporate their investment strategies, the green and blue side of the, investment. So I just wanted that.
Okay, thank you. It seems time is running out for us. We just have about 5 minutes to go. So we might have to do one per theme. Sorry about that. So let's go to theme 2, capital market development and long-term financing. Which table wants to go? There you are.
Theme 2, this table, I just want to say some words. For the capital market development for long term, definitely we need a lot of rules and regulations for the future in place in order to invest, give the trust to the investors, definitely. So in terms of that, proper laws to be in place to protect the investors, and uncertainty should not be in place. What we mean is today, at current situation, investors come into place and invested. Next day, we see the tax is increasing. So the stability has to be in place if we need to give confidence to the foreign investors. On the other hand, capital market development, we don't see at all the secondary market at present. In terms in the future, for 45, definitely we need to have a secondary market in our fingertip that anyone who have a saving should be able to invest. It's the same when currently what we see is even the government is raising the funds through the tax on a short-term basis. We have to think on long-term basis. We shouldn't invest or spend money just for the development by raising the taxes. So the tax implications have played big roles in the capital market. It's a development side as well as a financing side. No one wants to invest. There's a tax variation increases. Even today, the current situation, what we see is the way it goes, we might be hitting above 50% of the tax. Current situation is 45% tax we take from the investors. So all these has to be considered when we have a national plan in place. That's what my contribution is to that.
Thank you. Can we go to theme 1, risk-based and inclusive lending? There, I see a hand. We're rushing because I've already been told we have 0 minutes.
Okay, I'll keep it quick. Our handwriting is pretty bad, so apologies in advance for any mistakes. So for inclusivity, we mentioned that we would like to have a financial ecosystem based on data, transparency, but beyond just numbers. So the way we can get there would be through open banking, creation of a universal risk scoring, and of course to have the regulators on board to ensure that we can do this in an inclusive manner.
Thank you, that was good. So a great round of applause for all of you for really being great players here. I'll go to the last slide where it says, okay. Big thank you. if you scan this QR code, there is a short survey if you have like 2 minutes to fill out later on. But kindly leave what you wrote on the tables because we will be using these in our data analysis for the formulation of the National Development Plan. When you scan the code, you'll get the future of finance and digital economy. There's a short survey on that. So it's an interesting one. Kindly fill that up. Our task is tough, but thank you for making it slightly easier with your inputs. I'll wrap it up here. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Team Nexia Maldives. To conclude today's forum, I would like to invite Ms. Mariam Shiuna, Chief Operating Officer of the Pension Office, to deliver the closing remarks and vote of thanks. Ms. Mariam Shiuna.
Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon. I promise to keep it short because I know it's quite late and everyone's really tired. But an event like this would not take place without the hard work and dedication of a lot of people, so I would like to thank all of them. So on behalf of the Maldives Pension Administration Office, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude and appreciation to everyone who contributed in various ways to make this forum a success. As we conclude the 12th Finance Forum, it is a reminder that since the first forum was launched in 2012 and in our 16th year of service, today we are proud that the annual forum has become a nationally acclaimed platform to deliberate on key issues, share experiences, and influence policy decisions for the development of the financial and social sector of the Maldives. This year's forum, held under the theme Building a Resilient and Inclusive Capital Market, has given the opportunity for all of us to engage in critical dialogue on the strategic role of capital markets in building a transparent, resilient, and inclusive financial system. The discussions and strategies shared today will be central to building financial resilience and strengthening the Maldives capital market, empowering all stakeholders to take concrete steps to adapt our financial sector to economic uncertainties and drive sustainable growth. I would like to extend our sincere thank you to CMDA for their support and collaboration in making this year's forum enriching and valuable. I hope today's discussions will materialize into meaningful policy changes that support our collective vision for a capital market that truly supports sustainable and inclusive development. We are also honored to have had the presence of our chief guest, the Honorable Minister of Finance and Planning, Mr. Musa Zamir, who graciously took time from his busy schedule to address this forum. I would also like to extend our appreciation and gratitude to members of the Parliament, heads of institutions, and key stakeholders for your participation at this forum. We've heard excellent presentations, speeches, and discussions from our distinguished speakers and panelists today. I thank you for sharing your expertise, your perspectives, and your thought leadership at today's forum. A special thank you goes to our international speaker, Mr. Henrik Cruz, for accepting our invitation to be part of this forum. Your insights on global best practices, information disclosure, and country experiences have been incredibly valuable, and we are honored to have you here in the Maldives to share your technical expertise and input from your extensive experience in pension investment. Thank you, Mr. Cruz. I thank Mr. Jalil from First National Finance Corporation, Mr. Tawfiq from Divehi Investment Partners, Mr. Wall from Diragu, and our board chairperson, Dr. Inaz, for an enriching and thought-provoking panel discussion on how businesses can unlock growth and access finance. Our second panel discussion of today focused on reforms, technology, and global practices for a fair, transparent, and attractive market for investors. Again, another much-needed topic of discussion. I thank Mr. Cruz, Mr. Manik from CMDA, Mr. Latif from MSC for your input and unique perspectives on these issues. I would also like to highlight the presentations by Mr. Zakaria from CMDA, Mr. Ibrahim from the Ministry of Economic and Trade, and our CEO, Ms. Sujata, on Pension Office's role in building a resilient and inclusive capital market. Thank you for your excellent presentations. As part of this forum, we've also had next year Maldives undertake a visioning exercise to deliberate on our collective vision on the future of finance in the Maldives. Their visioning exercise has given us all a unique opportunity to contribute to this sector and be part of the national dialogue. And let me conclude by expressing my sincere gratitude to our board members for their continued guidance and support. In particular, I would like to extend a special thank you to our chairperson, Dr. Inaz, whose leadership and insightful direction have been invaluable to the Pension Office. I extend our appreciation to our CEO, Ms. Sujata Halim, for her unwavering dedication, support, and for steering this event through all stages of it. Thank you, CEO. And finally, to our pension team, thank you for your meticulous attention to detail, your hard work behind the scenes in planning and organizing this event, and your commitment which has ensured that the event is a success. So thank you, dear colleagues, for your exceptional teamwork and team spirit. The dialogues and insights shared through the forum will be instrumental in strengthening the Maldives financial sector and the capital market, enhancing its resilience and creating a more inclusive and vibrant market for businesses and investors in the years ahead. And finally, thank you to all of you for participating in this forum. We look forward to welcoming you all to the 2026 Maldives Finance Forum, where we will continue to address another crucial theme in developing the financial and social security sector in the Maldives. With that, I close my remarks, and I hope you all have a pleasant evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shiona. Before we conclude, I would like to request all participants to fill out the feedback form. You may scan the QR code, which will be shortly shown on the screen. Also, please note that today's presentations are available on the Finance Forum website. Refreshments will be served outside the hall, and for your information, transportation to Mala will be available now.
On behalf of the Maldives Pension Administration Office, we thank you all for your valuable presence and contributions in making the 12th Maldives Finance Forum a success. We wish you a pleasant evening ahead. Thank you.